Shein has stolen my designs. And then
wait, you did New York Fashion Week 2 months after I wrote in my diary a little bit about
yeah,
it.
I hated school. I've never been so miserable than like living at Brown.
Welcome to Boldly Human, the podcast where we explore unconventional ways to make money and unique mindsets that help you design a life that's right for you. In today's episode, I'm joined by Natalie, a high fashion designer whose creations have been worn by celebrities like Nicki Minaj, India Love, and Jada Wada. But her path wasn't what you might think. She shares how she left her Ivy League experience at Brown feeling unfulfilled, found her love for fashion in New York, and is now choosing to live in Bali, building her company here instead. As always, any support or feedback means the world to me. Now let's get into the episode. Natalie, welcome to Boldly Human. Where did we meet? We met actually at that villa when we were doing like modeling and showing everybody different brands. And I remember looking at, you brought like boots and you brought something else. And I was like, oh, this girl, like, she knows what she's doing. She's like in high fashion. Yeah. She's got a really cool brand. And I was like, I need to know. I need to figure this out. And so what kind of designer do you feel like you are?
I feel like I'm a high fashion avant-garde designer specifically for women's wear stuff. I'm very experimental, so I really like to try different silhouettes, try different textiles. Yeah.
And avant-garde is kind of like contemporary, would you say? Or just playing with shapes?
Yeah, like playing with like exaggerated shapes and just conceptual stuff. It's just about making fashion into art. Yeah. That's how I view fashion.
Yeah, your fashion is definitely art.
Yeah.
So why high fashion in particular?
Because I feel like I have the most fun with it. Like, you can do fast fashion. You can do, like, minimalism type of fashion. You can do, more girly pop fashion. But, like, avant-garde, edgy, like, experimental stuff, I just have the most fun with. I feel like it's, like, kind of like an alter ego, kind of. Like, if I'm, like, designing for, like, an alter ego, like, that's how my alter ego would dress.
Oh, I like that. I didn't know that. That's really cool. Okay, so when did you realize that you wanted to be in high fashion?
Well, honestly, like, my first design was that leather skirt with the zippers. Like, I just started making the stuff that I just genuinely like. I guess, like, I could have started making, like, simple shirts and bodysuits, but, like, I just kind of jumped, like, head first into whatever I liked, and that was just, like, what I gravitated towards.
But you went to Brown for engineering.
Yeah, mechanical engineering.
Yeah, so where did that kind of switch come in when you're like, oh, I don't want to do engineering anymore?
Yeah, well, early on I kind of knew like engineering just like wasn't my thing. I just didn't like where it was going. It was gonna end up with me working at like a co-working space or whatever, like being on the computer, like typing in numbers, plugging in numbers, and I really didn't want to do that. I really love like the design aspect of engineering. I love like the drawings, technical drawings, the 3D models. When I started going to New York and I met like my group of friends who were all fashion designers, I realized like, oh shit, I can do this. Like, I know I can do this. So yeah, that's when I realized. I don't know if that answered your question.
That's really cool. So like all your friends kind of were in it. Yeah. And then you got inspired.
Yeah,
by
and
that.
I was still in school during the time, but I was like going to New York every weekend, like learning about the manufacturers, learning about textiles and like how to make clothes. That was actually like a turning point for me. It was like my senior year. Okay. And it was so funny because like everyone that I knew was like, yeah, I just got this internship. Yeah, I got this job. Yeah, I'm going to go to grad school. And I'm just like, I'm not doing none of that shit. Like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm going to go to New York and follow my dreams, you know?
Right. It's good that you kind of had that gut feeling and then you stick to it. Because I think, especially with the idea like, oh, I went to school for this and it's my last year. And some people could probably feel like, I can't allow this to not be what I do after. But actually, your degree plays a lot into what you do now.
Right. If I'm studying engineering or if I'm studying fashion design, it's still design in the same way, but it's just like a design applied in different ways.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
So when you see like the 2D like flat tech pack, it's like seeing like a flat technical sketch of like a motor or like anything, like a wheel. So to me, it's like you're still designing stuff like in like a 2D way, but like making it into like a 3D object. But like, it's how does the garment flow in your body? How does it fit? How does the fabric work? Like, how is this cut gonna like change if you do this? Or like yeah, it's like it's so much more than that. I just feel like I just have more fun designing fashion rather than designing like motors and mechanical engineering stuff.
Right.
You know?
And so you have manufacturers here, China, and then people in New York you design with.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anywhere else?
I was designing stuff in Istanbul, but right now, not at the moment.
Okay. And why all of those places?
Well, I feel like all those places kind of specialize in particular things. So, like, for simpler things, I might have, like, China make them, or, like, I might make them here, but then I'll send the production out to China so they can make, like, a whole bunch of them at, like, a very low cost.
Okay.
But for, like, one-of-one stuff or just, like, very experimental stuff, I might make them in New York because they just understand and they're, like, willing to take it on. A lot of people aren't willing to take on, like, very challenging projects.
Right. So then you also lived in Turkey.
Yeah, I lived in Turkey, yeah.
What was that like?
It was crazy time for me because I was preparing for a show in New York. So literally, like, we had like 2 weeks to make the show, and I literally had like 2 weeks to finish the pieces all in Turkey. So it was crazy.
You had 2 weeks for New York Fashion Week.
Yes, but that's how it usually is. That's how it usually is. Yeah, because we decided to do the show like so quickly, and it wasn't. I do not recommend. I do not recommend.
Yeah, that's
like, we
a lot
found
of
the
pressure.
place. Yeah, we found the place, figured out like the installation and like what to do. It was insane.
What was it like to have your own show?
It was so cool. I was like, it's crazy because me and my best friend, so the brand is like me and my best friends as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Again, we decided to do the show like 2 weeks before, and like we were so indecisive because we're like, no one's gonna come, because we're just like two girls. We just started the brand like 2 months ago. Like the place was packed. The whole block was like filled. It was insane.
Wait, you did New York Fashion Week 2 months after you created the brand?
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. It was
That's
really cool.
insane.
We had the models stand on like concrete blocks, and then we had the models just stand, and then people would just like walk in, kind of like an art installation. And then it turned into like a whole party.
Really?
Yeah, because everyone was drunk.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, everyone was drunk. Yeah, it was so fun.
What is the day like when you host something like that?
Oh my gosh, it was so much because I feel like, because being like the main organizer of that, it just takes so much out of you. Like for the whole week, I'm just like not getting enough sleep, doing castings like every day. Like models are canceling on me. Like clothing doesn't fit, so you're trying to like finish garments to make sure that the garments are finished in time. Things that you ordered isn't coming in on time. So it's just like so many things that don't work well. Like people don't even see behind the scenes, but then like because all they see is like the finishing product, and it's amazing. And then the day of, like everyone's like pulling you back and forth, like Natalie, you need this, Natalie, you need this. And literally my hands like on a swivel like this the entire time because everyone's like looking to you for like what do we do here? How do you want this to look? Like it's just crazy. But it was so cool, like having like, you know, like friends and like family like come out and like spend the day and like help you like set up, because you know we were just starting. We don't have no budget for staffing or any of that, and like no one even really knew about us to like kind of like offer like we did get some help, but we didn't get as much help as we actually like really needed. So it was just like really cool to just have like people, you know, your family, friends and family just like be there and take the day off and like help you. I like my mom in particular, like she's the best. I love her.
She came out and she was helping you and everything.
The entire day she helped. And yeah.
So what was it like growing up in New Jersey for you?
I grew up in I went to like North Star Academy charter school. It's like a charter school in Newark. It's crazy because they were really, really strict because it was like in a disenfranchised like neighborhood. So all they were about was like, no, you guys have to go to college and get you to college. And
I was wondering how it compares to mine, because my New Jersey experience was this is the kind of horrible it was. In 8th grade, I had a teacher who gave us a Stanford assignment and said, this is worth 20% of your grade. We all went home and were asking our parents, and our parents were like, we have no idea. We're trying to ask each other. We're like all freaking out. And then we go in, and he was like, that was just a test to see what you would do.
What the fuck?
If you were given this assignment.
What the fuck?
The mental battle of my school in New Jersey.
No, girl. My school was like similar. Just to give you context, the kids would joke that like our principal was like the slave owner. Everyone was like on a plantation because
No
it
way.
was so strict, like
Yeah.
discipline strict. I'm talking about like militant. If you miss like one question on your homework, you have detention for every day. Every day. If you miss one question on your homework or all your homework for all 5 of your subjects, you get detention every day for like an hour and a half. But on Fridays, if you miss any question, you're in detention for 3 hours.
That's just cruel.
It's insane. I feel like one thing that North Star didn't do properly was showing kind of like that there's more subjects you can teach rather than the regular ones. Like I feel like there's so many different like hobbies or even things that you can get into outside of math, science, history. For example, like I'm a fashion designer now. If I would have been exposed to fashion design in high school, I probably would have went to college studying fashion design. It would have saved me so much time. I think about that all the time because like I wish that I would have known that I would have wanted to do fashion design instead of like having to go to the journey that I went through. Even though like, you know, the journey is fine and I do want to end up going to fashion school, it would have saved me a lot of time.
Yeah, I think about that too. Well, also you're not late to fashion design.
I feel late.
Now have your unique experience of going through engineering, which is probably your designs might have been completely different if you didn't have that experience.
True, very true.
When you're designing, what's your process like?
Yeah, so usually I get inspiration from usually nature, architecture. I start sketching with like silhouettes and like shapes, and then I kind of like end up creating the shapes into something that's actual like clothing. So I start with the inspiration, then sketching, then I start to do prototyping. And then I kind of just tweak the prototypes according to like the sketch, like my vision that I have for it.
Okay, and then for your...
Oh, and then I find the fabric too. I find the fabric after I do the sketch.
Okay. What happens if people steal your designs?
People have stolen my designs before. There's nothing you can really do about it. In America, they don't consider it something that you can copyright. Like the engineering of it, you could copyright, but you can't copyright like just like the art of it. Yeah, the art of it. You can't copyright that.
So has anyone stolen your designs?
Yes. Shein has stolen my designs, and then another smaller brand has stolen my designs.
Do you just say, okay, like that's what it is? Like what's your mindset?
I mean, honestly, I'd be posting them. I'd be posting like,
yeah,
like this bitch stole my design. Honestly, it's crazy because like I have to stop. Especially, I was doing that a lot in the beginning because like I'm just like very like attached to my designs.
Yeah, you're so much engineering, so much love goes into it. Like
I would call the girl out and be like, you know, this bitch stole my designs. Like, and people would comment underneath. Like,
yeah.
People would comment underneath, like, you stole the designs. But honestly, now I try to just, like, let it be. If I see it stolen, I feel like it just helps me deal with it more instead of being so emotionally attached to it.
Yeah, it's like the healthier way.
Yeah, it is what it is. People are going to steal it. If they're going to steal it, though, I'm going to be on to the next thing. So it don't matter.
Because then they're always looking up to you for the designs.
Exactly.
And it honestly is a good indicator that you're doing something right.
Right, exactly.
Unfortunately, if it's good enough to be stolen, people are looking.
Right. And it's crazy because, like, not only like do fast fashion like companies steal designs, but luxury high-end companies steal designs as well.
Really?
It's crazy because like I've heard from like multiple people who like have worked in like the high-end stores, how like the creative directors literally look at like small designers and copy and paste. Yes. So yeah.
I can't even imagine. Okay, so then what is your day-to-day like? You know, being a fashion designer, you're also a mom of the cutest kid in the world.
Yes. So my day-to-day, I usually try to go to the gym and then I start sketching, getting any ideas that I have out first thing in the morning. Then I usually just like do any running around that I have to do, like visiting, getting fabric or getting materials, and then I visit manufacturers and sewers, or I work on my own stuff, like pattern making and sewing. And then, then I go home to my baby. It's the best feeling in the world.
The cutest little boy.
Yeah.
What's it like raising a kid here?
It's amazing raising my baby in Bali. I feel like Bali has so many resources for me as a mother and the kid as well that makes the experience so much enjoyable.
Like the nannying and the schooling.
Yes, like the nanny. Yes, yeah. So like that's like one of the resources that I have is like having a full-time live-in nanny is like a blessing because it just gives me so much. It gives me so much of my time back, but then it also gives him the opportunity to have that one-on-one support, something that he probably won't be able to have in America, you know?
Right.
Like if he was in New York, he would be at home, like you know, like playing with other kids, but not being able to like run around in the wild like he can here.
You're obviously building your own brand, and then you have your family, and then you moving to another place by yourself. Mm-hmm. Like that's really cool. First of all,
thank you.
And that's hard to do.
Thank you. Unless you have someone on the outside telling you like that's really cool, it doesn't like really feel like it when you're in the middle of it, you know? Because it just feels like, well, this is like what I have to do, and like, you know what I mean? Like this is just what you have to do. I also feel like I am like a really good person to just like handle a lot. Like I feel like I handle stuff like really well under pressure because I like nothing will be as worse as like the time that
nothing will be as
like I can handle anything in life because like nothing will literally be as worse as like that, like having like going to like an Ivy League and studying engineering and dealing with everything that comes with that. So like I'm like life is fine, life is easy for me. Yeah, I hated school, man. I hated it.
Really?
I hated it. I hated it with a passion. I was so miserable. Like, I've never been so miserable in life than, like, living at Brown.
Really?
Girl.
Why?
Because, it's just so many reasons.
Yeah.
So many reasons. Brown, first of all, the place is in Rhode Island. It's nothing to fucking do. It's like Rhode Island, sorry, it's like the state that, like, old people go to die. It's not like it's nothing fun happening in Rhode Island. You're not gonna meet no one cool. It's very much like
that's so funny.
It's so true though. It's so true. Like, and nothing is happening there. It's so cold. It's so cold. So like I'm just not a person that thrives in the cold. I just don't do it.
I don't do well in cold.
Yes, I don't do well.
I get depressed.
Right, exactly, depressed. I can't function. So that was that. Plus, like, you add all that into, like, the state has nothing to do. It's freezing all the time. And then you add that with, like, you're loaded on with, like, a pile of, like, work that you feel like you don't understand and you have to complete. And there's no work-life balance. So it's literally all work. And I'm up to, like, 4 a.m., like, studying and cramming for tests. And then you end up getting a B on the test that you studied your heart out for. And you get a B? It's the worst thing in the world. It's the worst thing in the world. But it's crazy because then, like, you're meeting people that, like, don't even study. They don't even study.
That's what
and I'm like,
makes me go crazy.
Yes. And it's crazy because, like, I've literally, like, lived right next to people that have not studied. Like, the time that I'm studying till 4 a.m., they're partying. I hear the music and they're partying, but then
I don't
we come
understand
back and I'm
people
like,
like
"What'd you get?" And they're like, "Oh, I got an A," and I'm like, "Wow, that's crazy!" Like, so like,
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah. Right. So like,
oh, that stuff would drive me insane because I was that person who worked so hard.
Yeah.
Like, I studied to get the A in the class.
Right. Same. I feel like that's also probably why I didn't enjoy the going to like Ivy League like that, because so many people there are overachievers, and like I'm an overachiever and I get good grades and I can work really hard, but like some people are just like built to like solve cancer. Like they're built to do that,
right? Because
they just have like, I don't know, they're just like they're wiring in their brain. But like me, I work hard for like the grades that I get, so I feel like always competing on that level, like I was like always, it just wasn't, it was like psychological warfare. It's like what you're saying. And then also I just didn't connect with the people there. Like I didn't connect with the people there. Like I'm smart and I work really hard, but like I also, like, I don't know, I'm cool and I'm like, you know, I'm just me, and I feel like I didn't really vibe with a lot of people there.
What is crazy is like you're put in a world where everybody around you is kind of a certain way.
Yeah.
And that will make you feel like the crazy one out of it. And if you just leave that bubble and then you go to New York, you're like, here are my people.
Right. I grew up in the charter school that I said, and it was
Right.
primarily Black and Hispanic kids,
Okay.
mostly Black though. So imagine like going to school with like all like Black and Hispanic kids, but then like you're for college, you're put all around like white people, usually like
Right.
mostly white people.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, like it's like a shell shock when you like tap into like the Black community there. For me, like it was like hard to like, I guess, like vibe with them, because I feel like we still had different backgrounds, because a lot of them went to boarding schools or
Right.
went to like prestigious high schools, so we had totally different backgrounds. And I just felt like it was very hard for me to like vibe with people. And there were some people that like I like vibe with well, but I just always felt out of place. I always felt out of place. And I feel like North Star could have like prepared me for that, like entering the real world, because you're not gonna always be around people that look like you or like or come from similar backgrounds like you were saying, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's so important to be able to have that kind of experience, because when you grow up in a place and you're around a certain bubble like for so long,
Yeah.
it can make you really kind of brainwashed
Yeah.
in a way.
You think the entire world is like this.
Yeah, one, the entire world, but also I think there's so many times where you feel a pressure to fit in, and you feel a pressure to like dress a certain way, act a certain way, be a certain way. And by this age you do this, and by this age you do that. And when everybody else around you does it, you feel like, oh my gosh, am I
Yeah.
the crazy one?
Yeah. Transitioning back to like college, like everyone in college was just like in their studies, and they love what they were studying, and they're gonna go to grad school, and they're gonna do this and do that. And it's crazy because I had a best friend during college, and me and him had like a whole falling out, and I feel like it was so much deeper than what the surface level disagreement was about. I feel like it was more about just like kind of like him like just going in his path where he wanted to like he wanted to study electrical engineering for grad school, and I was kind of on my rebellion path, and I was like listening to goth music because I was depressed, and I was just like fuck school, fuck Brown, fuck this. I'm going to study fashion, and I felt like that was really what like kind of had us stop talking. But I just feel like I was just like so isolated during that time. Yeah, that's why when I found my friends, I was like so happy in New York. I was so happy. It was so like nice to be introduced to something, and it was crazy because like it's exactly what you're saying. Like everyone's doing this one thing in Brown, but then when I went to New York, my friends had a studio in the Garment District, and they had their own brands.
Right.
So for me, I was like, oh shit, like this is like an option. Like people are like you're actually able to do this. Like this exists. What? So like it's crazy to me. After that, I actually finessed my last semester, and like I like lied and like told them that I had to like get a job and like help my mom work at home. So I have to be at home, so I have to do like a remote semester.
Right.
And they were with it. Like the teachers was like, okay, like yeah, that's fine. But like I also kind of finessed, and I found the classes like where the teachers like agreed to that.
Okay.
No deans, no. I had no like it was not approved or nothing.
Really?
They just kind of did it for me. And some of the classes, like I was the only person that could do that remote. And it was just so fun. It was so freeing for me because I was so tired of Brown. I was so tired of Brown. It was so freeing for me. It was so freeing.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think like having that extreme challenging position is what made you find those friends, because you were like looking elsewhere?
Maybe because I kind of, because of Brown, like I just kept on going to New York because I felt like when you're surrounding yourself with other people that are like-minded, like something should come out of it, and something did.
And it's good too that you were just following what your gut was telling you to do, because like a lot of people will feel that, and they'll feel like, oh, maybe I should go there, I feel like I should do this one thing, but then they're set on whatever the pressure is.
Right. I feel like my whole life is about that, to be honest. It's just like going with your gut feeling. It's so funny. When I got into Brown, I didn't apply to any other schools.
Really?
It was so crazy. Like I'm like fucking delusional, girl. Like I'm like delusional. Like I applied ED, like early decision, but like I didn't apply. Like it was like maybe like the day before the deadline for the other applications, for like the like regular decision applications, and I was just like, no, I think like I'm good. Like I'm not gonna do it. And I found out like the day before, and I got in, but yeah, I'm just, I feel like I just always go with my gut feeling, even like with my baby. Like a lot of people would just be like, you know, you're just too young, or you don't have it figured out enough, or, you know, like I'm just like, I'm just going
Really?
with what life takes me. Yeah.
People said that?
Yeah, yes, girl. Like people have judged me. Yeah, people have judged me because like I'm so young and I have a
Right.
baby. Then even like I was telling you how like how I moved to Bali,
Right.
how I just came here, didn't even do no research, just like kind of heard about it from someone else, and they were just like, you should just come because it's like it's great, people are happy, vibes are good, and I'm just like, okay. So I packed up my
Right.
house, took my baby, and came
Yeah.
over there. I'm just like, I love it here. I'm staying, but I'm just a very, I wouldn't even say spontaneous person because I'm not like a super spontaneous person. I just like go with my gut feeling. Honestly, I feel like that gut feeling that you have is just like God talking to you, to be honest. That's what I
Right.
believe.
Yeah, and I think also like that piece of a decision is like for me what I determine my gut feeling. Like what is your gut feeling for you? Is it just like a knowing or like is it a feeling?
It's like a little voice in my head.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like
I
it's
like
like a little
that.
voice in my head.
Go to
Yeah.
Bali.
Yeah. Or like, you know, like this is gonna be okay. Don't
Yeah.
worry. I ask myself like questions like, okay, is it something you want to do, or is it something big, something you feel like you have to do because of societal pressure for anything, for any like life changes that I'm making,
Right.
you know?
I think about that a lot actually. With a lot of decisions. I'm like, is this your decision or is this what somebody wanted you to do?
Exactly.
I think that also intertwines a lot with like people pleasing too.
Right, being a people pleaser, I feel like is so dangerous because you could live your whole life pleasing other people, like family, friends, doing anything that anyone else wants to do rather than what you feel like is right for you.
Right. The regrets of the dying. Have you heard about that? It was like a woman who was with like a lot of people who are on their deathbed. The number one regret was that they wish they live a life true to themselves and not what other people expected them to
Right.
do.
Right. Because you only have one life, man. So,
Right.
like, take that leap of faith because you just don't want to live your life with any regrets, for real, honestly.
And so, what do you tell yourself? Like when people were saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have your baby. You're too young."
It was more so after I had the baby.
Oh.
I don't think no one had the balls to say that to my face. I forgot who, but like like a friend's like mom, I think said like, oh, like they're disappointed or something like that. Like when I said like
Oh.
when like I was pregnant, and, you know, I was like keeping the baby and stuff. Like they're disappointed. At the time, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like I'm having my baby. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like yeah, it just felt like, I don't know, like it's like a joy. Like it's a joy to like bring a baby into, you know, into the world and stuff.
Right.
And it's not even, you know, about that. It's like it's my decision, you
It's
know?
your decision.
Yeah.
It's really hard when you have people like giving opinions that they don't need to give.
Right.
Also, it's again, like you're saying, your decision. I told you a little bit about this. I wrote in my diary a little bit about like what people were saying to me right before I was solo traveling.
Mm-hmm.
It's like to my face, and that was like really really difficult for me because I was already scared. And then people would say things like, "Do you know anyone smart? Why don't you have a man with you? You're exactly what the sex trade is looking
That's
for."
crazy, yeah.
That one really, really was like more shocked that they said that to my face
Yeah.
than what they said. Like, if
Yeah,
that
no,
makes sense.
I can't believe they even fucking told you
I'm
that.
like, wow, you have the balls to say that.
Yeah.
And then by that one, I was already kind of like, I've heard this enough that after a while, I think there's a certain point where like, okay, like I'm already doing the thing. I now see it more as a reflection of other people, but I think before I was really intertwined with like, oh, are they just trying to protect me? But no, they're just
Girl,
trying.
they don't even know you, girl.
They don't have no idea who I am.
Yes. Yes.
They do not care.
Yeah, and they probably just project for your situation.
Projecting.
They're projecting off of Lifetime movies and Netflix
Right.
movies. Like,
going back to it, staying true to who you are. How do you manage passion and creativity along with business?
oh my gosh, this is a great question. When you're a fashion designer, especially like when you're making like experimental avant-garde stuff like me, you always come across, well, should I just make like the craziest thing I've ever seen in the
Right.
world? Or should I make something that people can actually wear and actually buy? And I feel like as a designer, you're like in the middle all the time, like, like I want to make the craziest thing in the world. Like I want to
Right.
go with like what my heart is like, this like heart, like wants to go with. But then like, you have to be a business that makes money. So you
Right.
can't just like, because you could either be like a business that makes money or like a freelance designer that just does it, like does it for fun, but it's like different because it's different for me. In terms of designs, I try to really make designs that kind of like fall within that like boundary of like, okay, this is something that people can actually wear on like a daily basis, they can buy, but it's also like super creative, super innovative, something that like really is not on the market, it hasn't been seen before, but then it's also able to actually be made in like a feasible time with like a feasible amount of money. So it's like including like all of that.
There's so
into,
many
like,
factors.
It's so many factors. It's like literally so many factors. So like when me and my best friend are like running through designs, we literally like make like 10 designs like together, like, and then we run through all of them. We're like, okay, which ones can we actually make that are like feasible within our budget? Which ones are just like too complicated? Which ones are just like super creative but like we can't sell? Once we categorize them into like which ones are we actually going to design, then we categorize them into like where are we going to make them, like where are we going to make them? Should we make this in New York? Should we make this in China? Should we start with this? Like,
Okay.
it's a whole process.
I like that you do that you categorize it. How wearable do you need to make high fashion?
Well, we're not doing couture. If we're doing couture, then it doesn't need to be that wearable. Could literally.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like fast fashion, high fashion, like high fashion ready wear, and then couture.
Oh.
Yeah.
But high fashion is runway.
Yeah, it's runway. Yeah, it's runway.
So is couture also
Couture is also runway.
runway?
Couture is also runway, but it's like one of one things that they don't make like any of in like the world, and it's like the pieces go for $10,000, and they're like hand embroidered, hand sewn,
Okay.
and the details on it is insane. Really.
Okay. And then what do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned from fashion? Your journey as a solo mom, having all that together.
Just understanding the world from like a global perspective, I feel like is the biggest lesson I've learned. When I was in America, I feel like my mind was just like, okay, well, you can only make designs in New York, and you can only be like what a mother would be like in America. Like I never thought that I would be able to have a nanny, and you don't really have that privilege of having a nanny in America unless you're a millionaire. So I think just like understanding, just like, I don't know how to put that into words.
There's
really,
so many other ways
to
do life.
Yes, there's so many other ways to do life, exactly. And just going to the place that like suits you the best. I feel like a lot of people when they're born, they usually just end up in the place, they usually just end up living their life in the place that they were born in. And I feel like it's just so important to go to the place that like serves you the best in whatever way that means, like however you want to live your life. Actually, I was just on the phone with my best friend the other day, and I'm like, girl, what you need to do is write down how you would wake up every single day. Like how, like if you were to make like an ideal life, the life that would make you the most happy, how would you wake up? What time would you wake up?
Right.
Like what would your bedroom be like? What food would you eat? How would you start your day? What people would you be around?
True.
Like what would you do during the day? What would your career be like? How would you end your day? Like all of that. Write that down, and then like find the place that best allows you to accomplish that. Because that's like how that's you making yourself happy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's what's important, is like finding the place that makes you the most happy or gives you the most opportunity of resources to make yourself happy.
Yeah, and realizing the potential out there, because I think a lot of people don't realize you can feel home in multiple other places, even if it's not a country that you may think you would feel home in.
Right, exactly.
Because it's a lot of times movies romanticize certain places, and so when you go to those places and your expectations are either up or down or whatever it is, you think that, oh my gosh, I don't think anywhere else could feel the way that I feel in the comfortability of home.
Right.
But I think comfortability sometimes just is really time. And then feeling home is really people and the way that you live your life.
I totally agree with what you're saying, especially like how just surrounding yourself with like people that you like, love and stuff. Even if you're like in different countries, like making friends and putting yourself out there is so important.
Right.
And like having that schedule, or like having what makes you happy, or what makes you feel at like home, like feel at most home.
How have you made friends when you've moved to different areas?
Just going to events. That's how I met you.
Yeah.
Going to events, putting yourself out there, just talking to people, like have like even like small like little talk, just being like very friendly. And
I think it all comes down to just being open. Because a lot of the time when you're open, you'll find more opportunities.
Right.
When you just feel that way.
Right.
So if you're going to a new place and there's an event and you're like, oh well, I don't really go to events, it's not my thing, you know. You just are closing yourself off because you don't know immediately. Like, just because you haven't been in a situation, just because it's uncomfortable, doesn't mean that it's not your thing. It's just maybe not your thing yet.
Right, exactly.
Or maybe there's places or activities that you've never tried that could be a whole new world. And just by trying a thing, maybe you don't like it, but you find somebody that you do like while you're there.
Right.
For me, I think it's been hard because there are times where I find certain places or things and I'm like, I don't want to go out, or I don't want to like push myself into an uncomfortable situation.
Right, yeah.
But then you do, and you find that it is only sometimes painful for the first like 10-20 minutes. And then it becomes a lot less once you start being like, oh wait, this isn't that bad, like I can just talk to that person. But it is sometimes going to an event alone and feeling and stepping in and being like, oh shit,
Right.
I don't know anyone.
Right, yeah. I feel like once you keep on putting yourself in those uncomfortable positions, you can just get used to that feeling, and then you just kind of you learn how to navigate it.
Yeah, the more you do it. And if people wanted to find you and your designs, where would they? Then I'll put it in the notes.
Yes,
anyway.
yes, you could put it. Yeah. So yeah, my Instagram handle is Nat Got Her Own, but my brand handle is Siamese with like double S's. Like 2 S's in front, 2 S's in the back.
Thank you so much for being
Thank you for having me.